Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Assistant Director with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is football officiating training tape number 1 for the 2025 football season. Really looking forward to getting going with our games and our season. We're going to start practice here in this next week into scrimmages, and then games will be here before you know it. We've done the training tape series for this will be the 11th year. Again, it is expected that officials who are looking to be considered for a state tournament assignment this fall need to view the training tapes on the eligibility tab on Arbiter. We will be putting training tapes and other training materials on the RefMasters app, but those pieces are supplementary and not required. The required aspects for eligibility, both for regular season and for postseason, will be on the eligibility tab on Arbiter. But we believe that these tapes are a valuable tool for officials and crews to use as a talking point, an agenda for a pregame, on your way to the game, once you get there, all those kinds of things. And from a personal standpoint, I would tell you that every single play that's in here where maybe we need to do a little bit better or try something else, I've screwed up all of those things. And I'm not perfect as an official, never will be. We've all said if we work a perfect game, we would retire, and here we are still working. Um, and it's because we love the game and we love giving back to it. So thank you for your service as officials. Our coaches are watching these tapes too, so thank you to them also. Um, High school football is just a great game, and I'm really pleased that I get to be a part of it in a small way. Again, when we're looking at these plays, we're not picking on any one player or team or crew or official. We're just trying to learn from these plays and have a dialogue about them so that as we go throughout the year, we're going to become more consistent in our mechanics, our philosophy, and how we handle these plays. So, the crews did a nice job last year in the Prep Bowl, and a lot of these are good examples of how we should be officiating and maybe the occasional example of something we can try to do something a little bit different. But thanks for everyone's efforts as we prepare for the season. And with that, let's take a look at some plays. All right, we'll start off our training tape series with an example of outstanding mechanics and clock management. So first, we have a running play here down to the near side, and our line of scrimmage official does an excellent job of maintaining our position at the line of scrimmage and then vacating as soon as that runner goes by and then officiating from behind. We come down the sideline out of bounds and square off to pick up this first down. We kill the clock right away. We know the line to gain without having to look across the field or behind us. So we are ready there. Communicate to the referee that it's a first down. And then the referee, as soon as the umpire gets the ball in his hands, the umpire winds the game clock. So this is excellent clock management, excellent mechanics, line of scrimmage. But I just want to point out the clock management aspect, especially that when clock is not a factor, so like this play, middle of the third quarter, um, on first downs, inbounds, as soon as the umpire gets the ball in their hands, we're going to wind the game clock. Um, the ball's not ready for play. It needs to be on the ground. We need to be in position to officiate, but we will start the game clock, and we should do that as soon as the umpire gets it in their hands, which we do here. If clock is a factor, so like at the end of a close game, we're going to not start the game clock so soon. We're going to get the ball on the ground, make sure everyone's in position, the team's ready to snap it, and then we will blow the whistle, 1,000, 1,000, wind our arm, and then go from there. But excellent job by the crew on this play. Okay, on this one, we're going to talk about goal line mechanics, and we have several of these kinds of plays to look at this year, especially as it relates to our mechanics change on a ball snapped from the 7 going in. even if a line to gain is present. So we'll talk more about those when we have that specific situation come up. But in this case, we are snapping from roughly the 2-yard line, first and goal. So obviously at the snap, we're going to move right to the goal line, and then we will work backwards as necessary for forward progress. In this case, we have a ball carrier that is tripped up just shy of the goal line, and when his body part hits the ground, the knee or the elbow, anything that's not a hand or foot, the runner is down by rule. And then when that happens, we need to see where the foremost point of the ball is, and if it has penetrated the plane of the goal line, it would be a touchdown. In this case, when the uh, knee hits the ground, you'll see here that the nose of the ball is just shy of the goal line, and the line judge has an excellent spot, outstanding mechanics, great sell, uses the O2O to communicate with the crew what he has. So you see it's about the half-yard line. That's where we put it. So, we just need to be careful about double action. So double action is when we're down and then we extend the ball further after we're already down by rule. And when it's in real time speed, that can be very difficult to get correct, especially if we're on the move. So that's why it's critical to get to the goal line, get stationary, you're set, you can see the play, and then you can react accordingly for forward progress and so forth. And that's what the line judge does here. So outstanding mechanics, great judgment, and a good sell. Just overall, exactly how we want to see it done at the goal line. Okay, on this play, we're going to talk roughing the passer. So you'll see that on this play, we have an incomplete pass, nice coverage by the line judge here, gets stationary as the play is happening. But you'll see on the replay that well after this pass is gone, this passer gets driven right into the ground and is properly called for roughing the passer by the referee. Um, just being picky, as it relates to our signal the personal foul signal, then the roughing the passer signal, defense, number 77, 15-yard penalty, first down, and then go ahead and enforce. But I'm more concerned about getting the foul. It's a safety foul. If we're not sure, throw the flag. But we get it down here, and this is excellent. Umpires, we would certainly encourage and recommend that both of you have a flag down for roughing the passer, especially when the player that's making the contact comes from your side. A couple of considerations. Mechanically, as soon as the passer is a threat to be fouled, we need to get off of blocks that are not near the passer. So you see when this play initially develops, you'll see that we have a potential hold by the tackle uh, nearest the referee. We're not going to get that one because our focus, our attention needs to shift to the passer. Same with the umpire. We're not really worried about holding when the quarterback is a threat to be fouled. We have to get off of that and get our attention to the passer. In addition, if we have a free defender who breaks through the line, our attention needs to get to that free defender because they are also players that could be fouled, and they're also the most likely player to commit a foul. So that's why we need to shift our vision here. And we do that. We get to the passer here and pick this up. From a rules perspective, Rule 944 covers roughing the passer, and it says that defensive players must make a definite effort to avoid charging into a passer who has thrown the ball from in or behind the neutral zone after it's clear the ball has been thrown, and no defensive player, this is key, shall commit any illegal personal contact foul listed in 943 against the passer. There are currently A through P in 943, so there's quite a number of illegal personal contact uh, actions that would constitute a foul, and none of those can be committed against the passer, or it would be a roughing the passer foul. So when we're looking at roughing the passer, we're looking for high contact, low, so forcible contact below the knee. We're also looking for punishing and late. So those are the four things. So high, low, late, punishing. If a hit fits into any of those buckets, we would want to flag down for roughing the passer. So if they pick up the passer and they drive them into the turf, like a pile driver type action, that is roughing the passer. Just merely landing on them is not necessarily a foul. But if you deem that the action is unnecessary or excessively rough or incites roughness, then roughing the passer would certainly be supported. Um, and that's why the forcible contact below the knee can be supported by rule. If you look at 943G, again, that is the contact that is deemed unnecessary or excessive, and I would say that driving your shoulder into the lower leg of a passer definitely is unnecessary and excessive, and we would support roughing the passer in that case. And certainly head slaps, targeting, all that kind of contact against the passer would also be grounds for roughing the passer. So again, safety foul, get the flag down for not sure. In this case, referee has a flag for roughing the passer, and we do an outstanding job of protecting the passer on this play. Okay, pretty straightforward here. Take a look at the receiver at the bottom half of the formation. Goes with the Canadian Football League start. Um, the only thing I'd be picky about here is line of scrimmage. If you have a false start, let's get in there and kill it right away. But we have an excellent announcement.
On the offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
So outstanding there by the referee. Awesome announcement. We don't use dead ball anymore or prior to the snap. We just say false start, offense, number 17, 5-yard penalty, third down. And we did that flawlessly here. Outstanding job, referee. But again, get in here, kill it right away because we don't want anybody to just get clobbered because we don't get in and kill the play. Also, nice job by the line of scrimmage official at the top of the screen, not mirroring flags, mirroring signals, letting us call the stuff on our half of the field. So outstanding with that. And when it comes to false start, anything that simulates action at the snap is enough for a false start. So if you have something that might be an illegal shift, but there's some movement that simulates action at the snap, just call it a false start and move on with the next down. And we do that here. Great job picking this up and outstanding announcement. Okay, and this one, another example of roughing the passer. You'll see number 66 at the bottom half of the screen come in and deliver a hit on the passer. And we have a pass that is completed downfield. We kill it for forward progress, and then we sort out the foul. So we already talked about what constitutes roughing the passer. This definitely fits, picks him up and drives him into the ground. This falls into the punishing category, high, low, late punishing, picks him up, drives him right in the turf. But we have an excellent announcement here.
Hit after the pass.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 66 defense. 15 yards will be added to the end of the catch. First down.
So that was really, really well done. The only picky part that I would throw in there for the announcement part for referees is we would say personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 66, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down, or half the distance or whatever happens to be. So we wouldn't say from the completed pass because he ends up running another couple of yards and so on. So that's just being really picky. Overall, the announcement was excellent, but I'm most impressed with the fact that we are in awesome position. we pick this up and we have a flag down for roughing the passer. So definitely fits into the punishing category. When they're doing that pile drive kind of action or driving them into the turf, a, a, a sign of that is when their feet come off the ground and they're driving their shoulder into them. So this is definitely roughing the passer, one we want called. And again, umpires, we would really like you to be in on this as well. But outstanding job by the referee and a great announcement. On this one, I want to talk about line of scrimmage mechanics. So you see 4th down and 5, so critical spot here. We work back into the offensive backfield. We're in the white, and then we're stationary to view the end of this play, and we have an excellent spot. Clearly, the running back does not agree, but you'll see here that when this player crosses the sideline, the ball is in his right hand, and it appears to go out of bounds with it in his hand right at the 49 there. And the 50 was the line to gain. And so we put it right at the 49. This is outstanding concentration, rules knowledge, mechanics, and we pieced it all together to get this play right. This is outstanding, and we officiate the dead ball um, action. We continue to watch players out of bounds, et cetera. We don't give up on it, and just do an outstanding job here of picking up this play. Again, working in the backfield, we're as deep as we can be, stationary, and we understand the rules and the mechanics, and then officiate the dead ball action. So, outstanding job by the line of scrimmage official, the line judge here, of officiating this play. Remember that when we go out of bounds, we are going to place the ball at the foremost point of the ball when it crosses the sideline. So they don't get any kind of line to gain extension or anything like that. The only place you get that is with the goal line, and in this case, not the goal line. So we're going to give them the spot where it crosses the sideline, which is in this case the A49, and we properly put it there. Outstanding job. This is also a great example of our mechanics at the line of scrimmage. So the down judge position here lets the play develop in front of him, works into the offensive backfield, comes down into the white, knows where the line to gain is before the play begins, kills the clock, faces out towards the sideline to officiate the dead ball action. Then once the player's clear, we can turn back to the field of play, and then referees, when the umpire gets the ball, we're going to wind up the game clock. So you see when the knee is down, we're going to be right past just a little bit the line to gain, and we knew the line to gain and we killed it right away. And then furthermore, this runner was down inbounds, and when we come back into play, the game clock is wound properly by the referee. So outstanding mechanics and judgment by the down judge on this play, knowing the line to gain, dead ball officiating, and then proper clock management. So outstanding mechanics, exactly what we want to see from line of scrimmage officials. This play is an example of outstanding clock management and fumble mechanics. So you see we have a fumble on this play, ball is out. We kill the clock, which I'm fine with. If we don't know who has it underneath a pile, let's go ahead and kill the clock, because if the defense has it, it should have stopped already. If the offense has it, no problem. We can get back to it. But I'm okay with that. If we don't know where the ball is, we can kill the clock, unpile, and then if we figure it out, then we can go from there. So you see, we kill the clock here. Referee gets in there, whether it's the referee, the umpire, or the back judge, covering official, determine who has it. If the defense has it, obviously, we're going to go first and 10 the other direction, no problem. We already killed the clock. If the offense retains possession, which they do in this case, we're going to clear the players and then we will step back and we will wind the game clock, which is what the referee does here. So this is excellent mechanics as far as game and clock management is concerned, managing the fumble, managing the clock. And then as it relates to the play clock, we're winding the game clock, but the 40-second play clock should be going at this point. Whether the offense or defense has it doesn't matter. The 40-second play clock should be going. That way, when we wind it back up here, it's already going. If we don't get the ball on the ground by the time it is at 25, referees, we need to pump it back up with one pump, indicating we want the play clock to go to 25 seconds, but we'll continue to have the game clock continue to run. If it can't get down on the ground before 20 seconds on the play clock, we need to stop the clock, the game clock, reset the play clock to 25 seconds, and then wind them both at the same time. So that's how we should manage this, depending on how long it takes. But overall, this crew did an outstanding job of managing the fumble and the clock on this play. Okay, another false start play. Watch the receiver at the top of the screen. He flexes his knee, simulating action at the snap. So this would be a foul for a false start. We have a great announcement here.
Oh, they've made the
False
adjustment.
start. Number 7 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
If you
And referees, the only picky thing on this, and I've been guilty of it, is we don't need to say repeat first down because we never even had first down in the first place. So just say first down. But otherwise, excellent announcement. And then, like the other false start we had, just make sure we get in there and kill it right away. We don't want players to hit each other or tackle or throw them to the ground when the play is supposed to be stopped. But again, any action simulating the start of a play should be a false start, and we need to kill the play right away, get in there and have a presence so we don't have any extra shenanigans after the whistle. But excellent job of picking this up. Nice announcement. Well handled. On this one, I want to talk about change of possession coverage. We have a scoop and score here. So first of all, very nice patient whistle by the crew here. We don't, anticipate the runner's going to be down, and we allow this play to continue, which is correctly officiated. Most of the time on fumble or down by rule situations, uh, typically the ball is out. And so if we're not sure, just let it go, and you're likely to, be correct if you're not sure. If you're for sure that the runner's down by rule, then by all means, uh, kill the play. But in this case, ball's definitely out. Nice patient whistle, and then we have really good coverage by the crew. Keeping everything in front, good hustle, and so on. The only thing I would say from a coverage standpoint is what we're recommending is referees, you will stick with the quarterback just because they tend to be a player that defenses like to go after on change of possession. So we'd like you to stick with the quarterback. And then the umpire, because we're already in the offensive backfield, the umpire would be primary for getting to the goal line along with the line of scrimmage official. And then the other officials will just officiate backside and clean up. And then the down judge does a nice job here of working with the teams to get back into the box, to not do anything after the play that's going to draw a flag. Remember, when we're looking at unsportsmanlike conduct, we're looking at action that is prolonged, choreographed, or directed at an opponent. Obviously, if an entire team comes out onto the field, that would be prolonged. Um, if they throw a ball up in the air like a grenade and everybody falls over, that's choreographed. Obviously, we know what directed at an opponent looks like. So we do a nice job of making sure that that doesn't happen and having a physical presence and using our voice to avoid a foul. And then finally, the only other thing to throw out there is when we have a play like this, especially changes of possession, um, players that don't score all that often have a tendency to drop the ball early. They don't here, but notice the ball's in his right hand and he's just kind of holding it out there like a loaf of bread. That is usually prime for dropping the ball early. So don't anticipate a touchdown. Make sure they cross. Again, turn and face players, and we do a nice job here. So overall, well handled by the crew. Just a couple considerations on change of possession to keep in mind. And our last play on this training tape is going to talk about mechanics for the goal line when we snap from the 7 and in. We talked about that on um, a previous play. Um, the mechanic this year, even with a line to gain involved, because you see here it's 3rd and 1 from the 6. So line to gain is the 5, but we have a goal line. We're going to work to the goal line right at the snap and then work back to pick up forward progress. Um, the mechanic in the past was to go to the line to gain, stop, and then continue on. And it's too difficult for line of scrimmage officials to stop and then start up again and then get to the goal line on time. So we know that it's not the mechanic that's been employed in the past or at other levels, but that's what we're going to do this year. Anytime it's snapped 7 and in, we're going to move to the goal line right away and then work back to pick up forward progress, even if a line to gain is involved. So you see here, we kind of jump back and forth, and that was something we saw mechanically when we had the previous way of covering. So we're going to go ahead and just go to the goal line right away and then work our way back to pick up forward progress. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 1. Some awesome examples of great officiating and mechanics. Um, Something to keep in mind for goal line, understanding the line to gain, announcements by referees, roughing the passer, a lot of different factors to consider. Obviously, officiating football is not easy. It's a real challenging piece, and we're doing a great job with it. And I'm really looking forward to getting going with games. But in the meantime, here's our first training tape of the year. And again, please watch this on Arbiter for credit, and we'll need all of these finished by the first week of October. But we should have most of them out by then. So, any questions, concerns, please reach out to a football officiating rules coordinator. They can answer your questions, and then also feel free to engage on the app as well. Have a great week.